Blessings, everyone. It's time for the incoming wave, where we talk about the influxes of new energies and new frequencies that are integrating into our reality experience as we continue through this shift in consciousness. Now, I do want to remind everybody that this, the incoming waves, is not a weekly horoscope. We are talking about energies that are coming in and going to work. And remember, waves are in play once they come into play. And a lot of this stuff that we're going to be talking about is actually coming in right now. This is something that is integrating as we go through. It's not waiting for the next week to begin. This is happening as we speak. And actually, as I'm recording this Thursday night, the 19th of November, my goodness, so much power surging through, and so much, very, very cool lifts of a lot of old density going on right now. Just a quick reminder, I have also gone back to bringing back astrology for general readings, but I'm doing it a bit differently. That video is already under its own playlist on my main channel page, and so you can check that out after that if you'd like. Weekly horoscopes now come in one giant video, and they're separated into chapters or timestamps. If you know how to use YouTube, right, you open the down bar beneath the video, and then you can use the timestamps there, or just navigate along the bar. They're already written in there, It's totally easy to do. And if you ever want to get a session with me, go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com. And if you are watching this before 2 p.m. Pacific time, US and Canada, Friday, November 20th, come on back here at 2 p.m. Pacific time, US and Canada, for a special live chat I am doing. You've probably seen me posting that and sharing that about. We're going to be talking about getting unstuck when you've gotten into chain reaction territory, what that means, what is going on with, getting back into the flow. If you're finding that maybe certain synchronicities, predictions, readings, all that kind of stuff all seem to say the same thing, and yet nothing is going on. What is happening with that? How do we get back in the flow? We're going to be talking about that on Friday, again, 2 p.m. Pacific time, US and Canada. So come on back for that, the 20th of November. And if you miss it, that's okay. Just come back and watch the replay. So let's talk about what is going on when it comes to the cards that helped us to articulate this wave. We had the Six of Swords, or Six of Orbs, in the Syrian Starseed Tarot deck. The Page of Pentacles, or the Seeker of Crystals. And the King of Cups, or the Master of Chalices. And this is the big cleanup, in a way. When I say cleanup, this is definitely something a lot of people, I think, have probably been waiting for a long time, especially when it comes to folks who have been really, really committed to their path. Because this is going to be the clearing of a lot of corrupted or inorganic timelines or episodes in a way that is bringing them to a completion starting now and culminating a lot of those completions between, November 30th and December 14th, this eclipse window that is coming up here. Now, when I say the clearing of corrupted or inorganic timelines, this is talking about things that have been taken on as the result of, let's just say, interference throughout the last few decades. There are certain populations, certain soul groups, certain collectives that may have been kind of dealing with the repercussions or the commitments or the let's just say, again, unfoldments of certain stories or certain chain reactions in and of themselves that may have actually had their start, a few very important windows of time throughout, again, the last couple of decades. So you might be actually seeing that as we go through this next few weeks, there's going to be a cleaning up of a lot of things that have been taken on that are a part of an inorganic or corrupted timeline, or even mini timeline, almost like an episode. And with that going on, this is creating an opportunity to allow for merging with the highest organic timeline and the highest organic self that is already on that timeline, right? We have been going really quantum with all of this. And so we talk about the highest self. This is you, right? Your highest self. You're already on one timeline or another, and you already have a version of yourself, an ascended self, higher self, multidimensional self, that is on the highest timeline, the true through line. You remember we saying through line a lot earlier this year, that lines up with the agreements that you had made when you had incarnated into this reality experience. Now, as we go through that, certain circumstances, certain, situations might occur or present in life. And there are some certain hot spots, if we go back down the timeline backwards, which I don't want to spend too much time there, that may have pulled or presented or created situations where either the self, right, or, again, the environment shifted under either duress or during, again, a prompt, an illusion of some kind, to kind of go and veer off in a funky direction. This is now clearing that dynamic out. This whole here's the through line experience, and veering all around, not necessarily knowing how to get back, or again dealing with a lot of things that you may have accumulated during your off-roading, during your time being a bit either lost or asleep, or maybe going through a looping timeline or an inorganic timeline. All of this is getting its correction starting now, as I am making this video, and moving towards that culmination as we go through into that eclipse window, November 30th through December 14th. And you're going to be seeing that there is this new life, or true self life, deconstructing what was accumulated during the corrupted or inorganic timelines and replacing them more and more throughout this completion. So when we talk about deconstructing what was accumulated, now we got to think about, all right, well, what have we taken on, or what have we maybe acquired while we were off-roading, again, or while we might have been in an inorganic timeline, getting pulled off course, what have you. This is now going to be, okay, if that timeline goes, then everything that was born of that timeline, everything that belonged to that timeline that cannot remain because it's inorganic, is also going to clear away. And so you may be finding that a lot of obligations, a lot of commitments, a lot of things that have maybe not necessarily been true to you, that you have been living, sharing, co-creating, are also getting uncreated during this time and getting replaced with what you would have had on that through line, on that main road. And it's important to, again, not oversimplify and not split this into black and white, because there are certain things that can happen that allow us to have, right, the experience that belonged on the main line, right, on the main organic timeline, that we get to keep. Those really cool deja vu moments, those really powerful soul connections, those really powerful, profound projects, and those really profound and powerful pursuits that start to really get a lot of oomph and pick up a lot of traction really fast. And so all of that's coming in, that truth of who you really are, what that path, what that timeline is, also getting revealed throughout this period. Now, during this, you're also going to, of course, need to observe what was no longer going to work what was no longer a part of it, or what didn't belong in the first place, what is a part of the illusion, what is a part of the inorganic timeline. And depending on, how attached you might have been to that, or how you might have felt about it, could bring up some interesting feelings. We've also been seeing some dark night of the soul moments going on as these go on, right? The groups and the souls that have already been leaning into this, right? Those of us who've been going first and really just letting go of the old paradigm have spent a lot of the earlier parts of this week having those dark night of the souls journeys, pulling us back to those windows where we might have made a decision under duress, where we may have made a commitment under duress, where we may have actually been duped into going off or dropping certain projects or certain pursuits or certain timelines or what have you due to certain things. For myself, really got to revisit certain aspects of my own life stream, especially as we look at the end of 2015, beginning of 2016, a bit of 2008. And so there's all kinds of personal stories going on there, but also the unraveling and the release from those personal stories. We're also seeing a lot of escort assistance for both unawakened and awake populations alike, all right? Now available, becoming more prevalent for all throughout November and going forward. When I say escort assistance, this is divine guidance coming in when it comes to, okay, look, it doesn't matter how far off you were. It doesn't matter how far away you went. It doesn't matter, who you believed. There's a chance to get on the highest organic timeline, no matter what. Go for it. And that escort assistance is there. Now, this may mean, however, that we have to, of course, do a bit of surrender, right? Not let the ego get in the way. We've got to be able to look and see where we are being guided to get back in touch with not only our highest self, but our highest creations. And again, go from awakening to evolved. And this is where the resurrection and revisioning of high creations are getting revealed and returned. And you're going to find throughout the course of this, to quote Sandra Walter, the 2020 hindsight and the 2020 vision is on. Going back and kind of going, oh my goodness, I know exactly where that got off track. I know exactly what happened. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the clarity just to understand cause and effect and move on, right? Not process it to death, not, go write a play about it, but to go forward. And with this, again, the resurrection and revisioning of high creations, once lost or suspended, is also made available in, again, a more evolved form. So you might be finding that certain things that you wanted to do or create for yourself, create for your family, have as a personal experience are now coming back on the table. And yes, if you require co-creators or you'd like co-creators, friends, allies, things like that, the right people, you're going to start to see who the right people are. You're going to have clarity over maybe what was a part of an artificial timeline or what was a part of a corrupted timeline or inorganic timeline, and which was actually a part of the organic timeline. And this 2020 vision and 2020 hindsight is also going to give you the opportunity to step into a merge with the self that is already on that highest trajectory. So powerful, powerful stuff going on here. This is very much also going to allow for a lot of people to jump over a lot of how questions, okay? And this is really important to remind you folks, when it comes to how, we don't necessarily go out of our way to panic about the how, right? But this is going to allow a lot of hows to get jumped over. Believe me, a lot of stuff gets taken care of when you go into this kind of mode and you allow this to happen. And I feel like for a lot of people, this energy is going to be shutting down a lot of things that they don't necessarily need to be working on, a lot of entanglements that are really no more of their business, a lot of connections or obligations they don't know how to get rid of or don't know how to get away from, but also at the same time, possibly some situations are going to get revealed that are going to show you where you don't have any business being, whether you are attached to it or not. But 2020 vision, 2020 hindsight, okay? Allowing this merge with your highest self, your highest trajectory is key, okay? And just let these things turn on. Let those abilities turn on. Pay attention. So that is what I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because you know I appreciate it. And remember, if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always go to my website, integrativemysticism.com. If you would like to participate in a live sharing of my findings, I actually present my findings live on Patreon at 4 p.m. Pacific time, US and Canada, and we go long form because we usually go about an hour, even over, doing Q&As and all kinds of good stuff. I also do another live at 3 p.m. US and Canada on Fridays, where we do our weekly workings webinars, where we talk about not only the energies that are most supported, but what tools, what techniques, what ideas you can work with to get the most traction and will have the most pull as you go through that next week. It's $5 minimum pledge per month to have access to the lives and all kinds of other goodies and discounts and whatnot on my Patreon. And again, you can follow the links below for more details there. And if you ever want to get a session with me, go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.